Welcome back to Endangered Species Spotlight. This week we are talking about the European mink. This is the European mink. It's a type of semi-aquatic weasel that used to be incredibly widespread across pretty much the entirety of Europe, but has since then declined so much so that it is considered to be critically endangered. The current population estimate puts the European mink at less than 30,000 individuals total across the entirety of Europe, which does include Russia. The historical range of the European mink was again pretty much the entirety of Europe, living almost everywhere but the Nordic countries and some of the Mediterranean countries. However, now it has been restricted to a couple areas in France and Spain, some Eastern European countries such as Latvia, Estonia, and Ukraine, with the majority of the population still being in Russia. The first records of the decline in the European mink population were noted from Germany around the 18th century, with records from Switzerland and Austria quickly following. Then in the following couple of decades, they became locally extinct in many areas, then further decreasing to the range that they occupy today. There's a couple different reasons for the decline of the European mink, including overhunting for food and furs, mainly the fur trade to make clothing, as well as habitat loss. Specifically, the wetland areas of Europe began to quickly decline as well as competition with the invasive introduced American mink, which was not quite so heavily reliant on wetlands as the European mink is. And also the decline of a favorite food source, the European crayfish. All of these factors kind of worked together to cause the European mink to have a very, very rapid decline in population that is still currently happening today. The European mink population is still decreasing. There are some conservation efforts happening, specifically the reintroduction of captive-bred European mink, specifically to a couple islands in Estonia, as well as reintroducing them into some other areas and protecting the remaining wetland habitats that they occupy. As far as I'm aware, they're actually doing pretty well in captivity, and the captive breeding programs do seem to be successful, so hopefully there will be a steady reintroduction of the European mink back into the ecosystem.